each other as well this time, because we didn't really say who we were before,
Yes,
did we?
we are live. We're live again. I think this. I like this co-host. Yeah, I like these co-hosts that I have. Like these should be like my default co-hosts.
Yeah, it's true.
Every live, I just have like like the Joe Budden podcast where he's got like Rory and Mal.
Yeah.
That's it, man. But yeah, introduce yourself this time, guys, and like what you do.
Tyler, you can go first.
No, you go.
Okay, cool. So I'm KJ or Kareem. I'm a photographer, audio engineer, and audiologist as well. So I basically help people with hearing, help people with sound, and help people with visual photography mainly. So that's the main things I do. So yeah.
Nice. So I'm Tyler. I'm a model / YouTuber. Well, newly YouTuber. And I'm also an administrator, office administrator, like 9 to 5. So yeah.
So cool. So we had a change of topic. We was gonna have OnlyFans topic, but our OnlyFans model isn't available right now. So we're gonna try to do that and maybe tomorrow or something.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we got being a person of color in the creative industry, and yeah, maybe trials and tribulations and stuff like that. So what's it like for you guys? Like even like what we were talking about, sort of the OnlyFans thing, which kind of ties into it. What you were saying, Tyler, like the backlash of that.
Yeah, I feel like obviously growing up in like a black household, like I think just growing up like in the black industry or black community, sorry, like it's literally like when you go into creative industries, it's quite hard because it's like at first your parents don't really think it's a reliable income at all. Like they want you to be in a 9 to 5, like, do you know what I mean? So then obviously when you're growing up and stuff, people look at you like, oh, do you not respect yourself? Like, but then when, let's say, someone that isn't of color does the same thing you're doing, they don't get as much negative backlash as we do.
It's a culture thing, I think, a lot of the time. Sometimes for that it's like we're used to kind of seeing something and going, if it's not something we're used to seeing in our own culture, then it's out of the comfort zone. So therefore, you shouldn't be doing it. If you know what I'm saying. So
I don't think it's a culture. I think it's more of a generation thing, because like when we obviously, I have kids. Obviously, Kareem, you got kids. It's like when we imagine if my kids grow up and say when because my kid's sick, my eldest is 6 now. So when she's 10 and goes, "Oh, Dad, I want to be a YouTuber," I'm like, "Yes, get everyone that coin." But if I try to tell my parents when I was 10, "Oh, I want to be a YouTuber," big man, I'd have got slapped so hard about you to be a quick.
No, but they didn't see like back then it wasn't a thing where you could actually be like getting money from it. Like it was literally a thing where
people were getting money like back then, and so people would get money from gaming back then. Call of Duty was still making millions selling, do you know what I mean? Like making games and selling games back on PS2. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's like there was money in it.
Do you know what it is though? They weren't seeing it
with PlayStation. They didn't value it. Whereas our generation now, of course, we're gonna value it. Or my son says, "Oh, he wants to be a game developer," or do you know what I'm saying? He wants to go pro gaming on YouTube. Those 15-year-olds are winning 2 mil and 1 million. Do you know what I mean, for playing Call of Duty?
So it's more like a thing where you actually can do it. Like, do you know what I mean? Back in the day, I feel like me not going to uni for one. Like my parents said, she was like, well, you need a degree like to do things like this, or and then when I started saying modeling, I want to do modeling, it was kind of a thing where like, okay, cool, you can do it as a hobby, but really what's going to actually keep you stable? So I think, you know, in that sense, you kind of have
a big waste of time unless you're trying to be
that's
a nurse.
what I'm saying. My brothers went to uni and they said they wasted their time 100%, and I just know why do I want to be in debt for something that I don't really want to do? Like, do you know what I mean?
I feel like people fall into it because it's the systematic thing to do.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
Rather than like look at most people, even businesses nowadays, everything is Instagram based. If they don't have an Instagram, their business ain't flourishing. Doesn't matter what industry you're in.
I think,
yeah, but I think it's based off experience as well.
it's also like what we kind of touched on before we started, in the fact that if you are getting paid from it, or if you've got a reputation for it, then people can then therefore accept it. But until you get to that point, then it's always going to be looked at as a hobby or something that is just an interest for you. And within, I think, not just the black community, but just in general, because we maybe have to adapt to the westernized world that we're in, we're kind of told, especially for me, I know when I was younger, it was kind of like, my mum always supported me to do things that I was passionate about, but she still was like, get your education, have a security blanket there, so you can make sure that you can do what you want to do. Do you know what I mean? So
Zero Shot said, yeah, things are a lot different now because you can make money off being a creative. I think you could always look at like the Terry Richardson. I mean, he's probably not a good example because obviously he's like abusing women apparently, but like the Terry Richardson and all of that, he's been doing photography from how long ago? Do you get what I'm saying? That there's other famous photographers, it's just that it wasn't popular as it is now.
At that time, yeah.
Yeah, like when you looked at magazines back in the day, there's probably 1 of 10 photographers that probably did every magazine and most pictures that you saw. But because now, obviously, it's of Instagram and all these apps now that require cameras, the demand, so people have made cameras for the demand, and now a lot of people are photographers. So now it's a thing of everyone does it, but there was always money in these things. It just wasn't popular. Like, imagine 15 years ago saying you want to be a web developer. People don't even know what the hell that is. But nowadays, that's a damn good job being a web developer. You get what I'm saying? So there was always money in it. It's just a thing of, I think that's why I said it's more of I think it's a generational thing and where people value stuff now. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like being a gamer in 2020, people automatically think you got a lot of money because people know about it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, our parents, even to this day, still don't know what those things are worth. Or they just see my camera. My camera's just the camera. But they probably would chuck it about. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, they just that shit around, put it on the table.
Yeah, but
I'm going to hold it like it's the holy grail because I know how much it's worth.
Yeah. But I feel like your parents aren't going to actually see what being creative actually brings, like, to being financially stable until you actually go, oh, look, like, this is how much I'm getting from, let's say, YouTubing or modeling or something like that. It's like when you're like, oh yeah, I want to be a model, they'll kind of downgrade it in a sense, because it's kind of like, you can be a model, but what else are you going to do? Like, there's always got to be a plan B. Where, you know, like in, like, let's say us, if we was to say to each other, oh yeah, I want to do modeling full time, or oh, I want to be a photographer full time, you'd be like, yeah, 100% go for it, because we can see on Instagram what people are making from it, what people are like growing from it. Do you know what I mean?
I think it's different for photographers and models though, because I feel like because we're behind the lens, like how our experience in terms of how people perceive us is probably going to be based on like how professional we are, who's maybe recommended us, things like that. But because you're in front of the camera, how has it affected you in terms of like getting jobs or being in demand? Has it been helpful being a person of color, or has it been what's your experience felt like so far?
I feel like it's been good because obviously being different is quite good in a sense where it's like no one else looks like you kind of thing, so you can kind of use that as an advantage. But at the same time, with some agencies, you do see a lot of them go for the same type of girls, like kind of very petite, blonde, blue-eyed, blah blah blah, like light pale skin. Like, so I think you just got to go to the right people, or like kind of just work on your own, like as in do your own work with like collabs and stuff, because it's like them type of people will kind of understand, oh yeah, she's, you know, mixed race, she's got this, she's got that, whereas agencies are kind of like, you know, oh yeah, like you're not, it kind of puts you down, because then you're like, oh, do I need to lose weight, or like, oh, do I need to be a size 6 to be a model, or the height thing is definitely mad. I think that has been a big thing like not recently, but back in the day when everyone was like, yeah, you can't be a model unless you're like 5'9" plus. Do you know what I mean? So,
but that's why I feel like I've never really had that great experiences with agencies anyway, because I don't think most photographers have, because they don't like to credit people. But as a like model, I've always said to models, like, we're in an Instagram era now. You don't need it's helpful, but you don't need an agency.
No, you don't. No.
You're a good model, and like I said, like how our relationship is, you're always gonna have sick pictures. Do you get what I'm saying? Like for a feed and to create something new. If you like, you've just started a YouTube channel, you can talk about all of this on that as well. Build your own audience and your own following, and then you're gonna get your own brand deals straight to you anyway. Because through the agency, they're gonna take 30% of your money anyway. They're just like, so once you're big enough, people are gonna come straight to you instead of going through an agency. And then it's just like, when you get to, I don't know, 15, 20K, you probably would think, okay, I don't even need an agency at this point.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a clear discrimination as well.
Yeah.
Like, I've noticed that, like you say, with agencies, there's a clear discrimination, not on all agencies, but there are maybe agencies that promote that they are more pro different ethnic minorities, but then you can clearly see that it's not necessarily showing that, but they promote it as if they are.
What they've done to cover themselves now? They have the main one, and then they have Curve, whatever their name is, Curve. So then that's where all the plus size, and that's where all you see it being all very multicultural. But their main one is obviously, like you're saying,
European, yeah. I don't know, it's an interesting one, because I feel like in recent times you're definitely seeing more of, like you say, Tyler, it pays to be somebody who is of a different ethnic background or who looks different. So not even necessarily in color, but they may be somebody with freckles, for example, or have like maybe a northern edge, for example. I've heard the term. So like it's definitely better, it seems, for models at this time. But then, how do you feel as you've got older and kind of done modeling now over the years? Do you feel it's got any easier for you in terms of like mental health in dealing with how you perceive? Or
yeah, I feel like from Instagram, like, because when I did modeling, let's say like when I was young and I was going with my mum and stuff, they would kind of, you know, say to me, oh, you know, like, yeah, you have a different look, blah blah blah, but you have to pay this to do this. Like a lot of agencies or people like to scam people because of that. But then I think when I've gone older and I've actually gone to agency, like, it really depends on the agency, because I've gone to one agency where they'll literally be like, yeah, love your look, like natural curls and all of that, like we love that. And then another one where they'll literally be like, yeah, you're not for us just because, you know, you don't, and they don't even have to say what it is that you're not for them, but I just know it's because like I'm not petite or I'm not white, not like, do you know what I mean? So I think in that sense, it does put your self-esteem down, especially for me, just because growing up in like a white community, going from the black community to the white community and going to from black school to a white school, definitely the difference in how people are like treated. Say, for instance, me, who's going to a white school, and most people there, they literally just want girls to be like blonde hair, you know what I mean, like blue eyes, like that type of look. And then obviously you then want to fit in, and I used to straighten my hair, like do all of these things to make sure that I don't look of color, because I knew it wasn't a thing back then. But I think growing up now, being like on Instagram and that, it's kind of like different. It's kind of like, oh yeah, you're different, good kind of thing.
Yeah,
so I think it has got better in a sense.
It's true. Like you say, touching upon that, if I think back to when I was in school, I had an afro pick in my hair, and I remember the teacher saying, oh, take that thing out of your hair. And it was like, for me, I made it as a statement. I was like, no, I'm wearing this because I want you to know, like, I'm proud to have this in my hair. And like, yeah, it was a bit of a cheeky moment, but like, it's like now, if a teacher told you something like, no, you can't have this in your hair, it's like, it's almost like we're living in an era now where people are celebrated for being different, which I love. And it's good that people can feel more comfortable this time. But I still think that there is a little bit of a systematic preference just because of where we are, to be honest with you.
Yeah, definitely. I think you just got to find the right people. Like, that's why me and Adrian kind of you don't have to have an agency, because it's just like, they do make you feel like you have to be a certain way, and obviously it depends on the clients, like that's how you want to look. Say for instance, if I wanted to change my hair like next week, if I was with an agency, I wouldn't be able to do that because I know their clients like curly hair, for instance. So
Yeah,
on
I've
top of
noticed
that, you're gonna have to update
well,
your profile, wouldn't you? So
Huh?
sorry.
What did you say?
I was saying you just on top of that, if you then change your hair, you'd have to also update your profile. So then you're starting from scratch essentially the moment you change something. So
I've noticed as well, it's like they like people of color that look like they could be multiple races. That means because it means that they can sell to multiple clients. They don't like it. You look like what you actually look like. They like it's like it's a bit weird because I know a model that I shoot a lot, and she does a lot of Indian bridal shoots. She does shots where I've seen where she looks damn near like white, and her mum's black. Do you get what I'm saying? Her mum's actually black, but obviously her dad's white. But it's just like, but her facial structure is very different. Like it can go, she can be multiple races.
Literally,
so that means that
I
she
didn't
gets
think
a
she
lot
was
of work
mixed race.
because you didn't think she was mixed race?
No, when I first saw her, I didn't think she was like half white, half black. Like I thought she could.
I did. I saw her. I just immediately just thought that she was. I don't know why everyone says that. I don't know personally. I originally I thought that.
No, like because I feel like I don't know. There's just different like things that point out. Oh yeah, she looks mixed race kind of thing. And obviously, one of them for a lot of things is curly hair. For instance, she doesn't have curly hair. She literally has quite white hair. I would say, like it's quite straight, isn't it? So when I saw that,
naturally her hair is quite straight.
She doesn't look white. She looks like she could. That's what I'm saying. That's why it's good that she can do that, because I would literally say, oh, she looks like she has different things in her, but I just can't I can't quite put my finger.
I think it's more of her facial bone structure isn't the typical, even for a mixed race girl.
Yeah.
Like it's like she has thick attributes, but then also the bone structure of like, do you know what I mean? Like actually like a white model would have, for instance, but then has the big lips, but then has a slim nose. Do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's weird. Like and there's the actual features that are not untouched. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like that's why she gets a lot of work. So she gets work because she's of color, but she can pass for a lot of different things.
Yeah, definitely. I feel like when
she has a black mum, but then she's doing Indian bridal weddings pictures. Do you know what I mean?
When she does Boohoo and that, she could definitely pass as like, let's say, like a white model, basically.
Yeah, with a tan, basically.
So then
I was gonna ask you guys, like, say again.
It's a good advantage then, right?
Yeah,
now,
basically for that way, it's a good advantage. But then someone who actually does look like they are, like a mixed race girl, for instance, and then they're like, "Oh no, we don't want you."
Yeah, that's when it's a disadvantage. Yeah.
Yeah.
But then I was gonna ask her, anyone had like any, I don't know, like bad experiences being of person of color, like even from people of color?
Not really. Like I think I do question, even in my early days of doing photography, like whether I started to go into more of a street style because that's what people would expect me to do. But then it also comes down to what you like is what you like at the end of the day. If I like street fashion, then I'm going to do something that shows homage to street fashion. So I think it also comes down to feeling comfortable with what you like to consume and understanding why that is. But I can't say that I've had any experiences where I felt that I didn't get a job or people haven't wanted to create.
I've seen something unfold. I don't know if Kareem, you might have seen it. Like there was a photographer. I won't say his name because I don't know if you would want his name said. But London photographer. I forgot what the complete story is. I might message him today and see if he will join maybe at another time. But something happened and he thought the photographer was talking to his missus or something like that, if I remember it correctly. It was one of the street race meets.
Okay.
And then do you know the racist guy I'm talking about?
I do. Yeah, I remember this time period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then like he obviously DM'd the photographer saying you're an N word. He says a white guy, by the way, like
Yeah,
saying,
I
"Oh,
remember
you're
this.
an N word, you're dirty black this and blah blah blah. Like my missus would never want you, blah blah blah." And yeah, like obviously he exposed the DMs, and then it's funny enough, that's how I met him because someone reposted it saying, obviously like he's this guy, the model's cancelled, isn't it? Like.
But you know what was interesting about that time period, though? Because I remember seeing the repost of it.
Yeah, that's what I saw the repost, and then I followed the photographer, and then now we talk
Yeah.
since then. Like we followed each other through that.
But what I found weird about that time was like I started because that was around the early time I started seeing the whole photographer model early community, like those kind of collab meetup things. And then I started seeing that there was still people who were associating with the guy that was clearly racist.
Yeah.
And that's something that personally I never feel comfortable with.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I distance myself from that whole thing, because even the same guy that organized those meets let him to someone's after that.
Yeah.
And then that's where I was like, yeah, like I just unfollowed everything because I even shot that guy as well at the street rate things. So I was like, do you know what I mean? So I just literally just like deleted everything after that one. But what I was gonna add is like, it's weird because I don't feel like we support each other enough. Like I feel like we shoot ourselves in the foot with a lot of things, not just this creative industry, but as a black folk, as we're black in this this live, but as a black people, I feel like we shoot ourselves a lot in terms of in a lot of ways. Like I don't feel like we get much support from one another. Like it's always a competition thing. Like because most of the people in the industry we're in are not, especially black males from the quote unquote hood. Let's for instance, like you get what I'm saying. Like at the level at we're at, like there's probably a handful of people that are black photographers that are at that sort of level. And so I feel like anyone that comes in, it's always like a competition thing, and it's always just like, you know, you feel like an energy towards someone, like they're talking to you because they know they can benefit from you, but they don't like you. You're further along the career. And I even got that when I had one of my last trips. I was like, this person's like wants to be around me because they ask to be around me. They're always asking me how I do this, that, and the third. But they're doing so you can just feel someone's energy is just not genuine. Like they're just trying to find out how you do what you do.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? To try and do it better. And I feel like it's always a competition thing. Like it's always something. It's like they always got something like sly to say, then I'll find out from another model, and it's just like they end up unfollowing. And it's just like it's just always something. Do you know what I mean? Just a weird energy between one another.
But you know what? Though? I think that happens because it's like that crab in the bucket mentality that is being put towards us. Now we're in a next, let's say, generation, and we've got things like Instagram, we've got other social medias. We're seeing other examples of black role models that have been successful in lots of different realms. I'm hoping that will change because, like, it's got to really, like, the only way it is going to change if people like ourselves do things like this. We see other examples in the creative industry sharing their practice or talking about their experiences, and I think that's the only way you can really shake it, to be honest with you. Because when I look at my personal career with the creative industry, it's been a struggle, and I think the reason why it's been a struggle is half mental in myself, and also half of the thing of like, if there isn't an association of what's representing what I want to see, then people struggle to even figure out who I am and what I'm about. So then, like you say, if you haven't got a community, whether it be the same race as you or whatever it may be, that's supporting you continuously, then people can't really like trust and believe in your brand. Do you know what I'm saying? So I find that's why it's been a struggle for me, because I've come from a background where I don't have many people looking like me. I don't have many people who are open to talk like me. So then people are like, well, I like what he's got to say, but who is he? Who's he associated with? Do you know what I'm saying? So everything's based on association as opposed to like talent, or as opposed to like actual content and creativity. It's like, yeah, but who are you though? What have you done? What can you do for me? Do you know what I mean? As opposed to like, what can you do?
It's like if people don't recognize your creativity, or let's say your talent, if you don't have like a big following, or you don't know people or something like that, do you know what I mean? It's just like, it's always about like, why do you always think a lot of people blow? Because their connections, really, like it's not to do with what they've actually got to show. It's literally like their connections, and that's why I kind of fixate on followers, likes, like, do you know what I mean, views or something like that, because obviously that's what's quite important nowadays. So I think the talent kind of gets
yeah.
This goes back to what you guys mentioned, I think, on the previous one, is like, because of the fact that we, in ourselves, we maybe create a certain realm of like, well, this is what we see as cool and what we see as like a moral standpoint of what we like, then we'll do that only. And then maybe other heritages, like a European heritage, who are comfortable being in their home of England, let's say, or America, then they may be able to do certain things, and then it doesn't really get a bad reaction because we're used to seeing them do that. But how much is that in our own minds, and how much is that like a case of like society saying, well, no, you guys should do, let's say, only do hip hop if you do music instead of rock, or do you know what I mean? You're not allowed to do nudity if you're a black model, because we're not used to seeing that.
But you know what's funny about you saying that, like nudity as a black model, even as a, for example, like the whole of 2019, I had one booking that was a black person. Out of the whole year, one person. You know what I mean? So it's like, it's a bit weird, and then it's weird because it's like a catch-22, because I get a lot of people asking me like, oh, why don't you shoot a lot of black girls? But then if we're even looking at this as a business standpoint, one person out of 365 days booked me because like that happened to be a person of color. So let's say, for instance, so why would I then cater my whole feed to people of color when my business doesn't, do you know what I mean, correlate with that? It doesn't even make, as a business, that doesn't make sense. Do you get what I'm saying? But then it's like, I want to, but then they don't, our community doesn't shoot what I like to shoot. So if I want to shoot what I like to shoot, I personally don't care about color. I'll shoot everything. But obviously, if that's not what our community does, then obviously, how can I shoot it? Like, do you know what I mean? So it's like, it's weird to ask that people that say that, like, oh, how come you don't shoot black girls? I'm like, okay, do you shoot lingerie? No. Okay, so what's the point of asking me?
What's the
point of bringing it up?
I think it's, like I say, it's a comfortability factor a lot of the time. It's like, people are used to what they're used to. Are they willing to come out of their comfort zone? If they ain't, and it's not within your realm, then it's never going to be a collab. It's then going to be a case of like, you want one of you, either the model or the photographer, or let's say it's a clothing brand or whatever it may be, someone's going to have to compromise, and then it doesn't become something that you enjoy anyway.
Yeah.
So that's where I think there's a bit of a problem within, like, I don't want to say our culture, because I think it's definitely a case of like what Tyler mentioned. It just depends on who you meet, really, and who you build with, and who you happen to like associate with. And once you find those patterns, then it becomes easier, I think.
Do you know what I mean? It's a weird one, because it's like all the, like, when I was less established in my style, and there was a point where I had a year where I had a couple of bookings where they were like black people, but then it's like I always used to get issues when it was our own people. Like, the only time I've had issues being a black professional photographer is literally our own people all the time, like nearly everyone. So it's just like, it's almost just like, I want to support us, but it's just like you give me a hard time.
Give me something to work
Like, you know what I mean? Like, throw me
Yeah.
a bone. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, I'm trying to defend you, and it's just like every time someone gives me a reason to be like, fuck this, I'm just gonna shoot Tracy with the long hair over there. Like, do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's just less of a headache. Like, it's just weird. Like, I don't know. It's different because even when I used to get bookings from other people, like other black people, it was always some. They always wanted something. They always want the most for the least money. Like,
You know
they would want stuff from package 3, but they want me to do that all for package 1 money. And it was always an argument. I'm just like, why? Like, how does that make? Like, do you know what I mean? How does that make sense? But then someone that's not of color will come and pay the highest package, be grateful, and then tell their friend about it. Like, do you get what? Like, that's happened to me a bunch of times. Where
I've not had that experience as much. I've probably had the opposite, where if I have had clients that happen to be black, they've probably valued me a little bit more. And I don't know if it's just because we're more relatable to each other at that particular time that it's just worked it that way in my favor. So again, it comes down to how we experience things, isn't it?
Because I feel like, because obviously they might have been creators or they might have been trying to do a clothing line. Okay, great.
Like, from that point of view,
they're trying to save money and whatnot. Okay, great, but me giving you more and doing more for you, that's taking up more time out of for me. Do you get what I'm saying? So it's like it's benefiting you, but it's not benefiting me. So, but then it's like they wanted what they wanted without caring what the downside was for the other person, which happened to be me.
In the past, say, like few years of modeling so far, Tyler, have you had people approach you and expect a certain type of thing to be what you do as a model because of the color of your skin and anything like that? Have you had any of that kind of stereotypes kind of brought to you of, oh, I think you should do this, or?
No, like I feel like obviously with lingerie shooting, like I feel like a lot of people didn't expect that of me because of my color, like because it just is what it is. It's very rare for someone to be up to doing lingerie shooting, which is just a simple fact, really. So I feel like when I started doing shooting with like Adrian, it just flowed. Whereas before, like it was kind of like we would shoot, but we'd have to. I think it's more like a balance. Like we'd have to suss out what both of our comfortabilities are, like, or what that type of photographer wants out of. Do you know what I mean? Like out of me, so I can give what I can offer, kind of thing. So, I wouldn't say I've had it too tough, but it's just a thing where like I've met people and they'll just be like, yeah, like, so what type of work do you do? Like, what are you comfortable doing? And it just I met Adrian, I got more comfortable doing that sort of stuff. So
I feel you.
Do you have many other friends that are actual models, and what like sort of levels friends of color that are models, and like what kind of levels do they shoot to?
So one of my main friends, like she's literally a light skin like me, like her mum's white and her dad's black, but she's really tall, and so she just does like catalogs. Like she's been with like Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo, like
I think she liked one of my pictures yesterday.
I know you know who I'm talking about as well, Karina.
Yeah, she liked one of my pictures yesterday. She didn't follow me though, but whatever.
Well, I mean, yeah. So, but that actually, let me not talk too much. Anyway, so
spill the tea. This is tea central right here. Spill the tea.
No, from the other podcast that we did on Sunday, when I was saying the other girl that went to that blah blah blah, that was her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's like actually blown for modeling, like, and I think that's just for a simple fact that for her being with an agency made her blow. Like, or it was kind of like she had a following already. Like she's probably had about, like, before she became a model, she had like, let's say, probably 20K or something, or like under, like I would say 10K or something like that. But then I must have said to her, I was like, why don't you do modeling? This is when I was doing modeling, and I was like, literally, I can do modeling, and I'm 5'6". Like you're literally 5'9", 10. Like you could easily get, you know, modeling opportunities. And I think it was when her Instagram started blowing, that's when she started getting more like collaborations and agencies. And now she's actually signed with an agency called Lennis. So yeah, she's with them. But she did say like it is very restricted. Like I think she posted something when she did a catwalk or something, and it was like with a different brand. Like they emailed her saying that she had to take it down or something. Like it's very restrictive. But I feel like in regards to being in the Black community as well, she's done well. But she does work with a lot of catalogs that kind of she says that they make her straighten her hair a lot. So like she has curly hair as well, and most of her pictures are literally like straight hair. So I think in that sense she has had to strip a bit of her culture because
that's basically conforming to their standards.
Yeah. That's what the clients want, isn't it? So I think she's just kind of like she doesn't really have curly hair like as such, like really big curly hair, but she did say like you know, it's a bit rough like having to straighten my hair all the time, it's damaging it, but obviously money's money, like I gotta make it. So that's
what I would never really do, would be to conform and especially to physically damage myself.
Guys, just so you know, before it just cuts out, like my battery's on 1%. So I'm gonna get going before it just like randomly just goes.
You know what? Let's end it here. We'll do a part 2 because we're running like mad late. But we'll do a part 2 soon. Hopefully, the OnlyFans, what we're supposed to do, we'll maybe be able to do it tomorrow or something if we try again. But actually on time as well. But we'll definitely revisit this. There's ample time. But guys, we'll catch you. This was a quick one, a very late one. Well, late one for us, not if you're in America right now. But we'll catch you guys in the next one.